When you read and you look for a theme in a story, that's a really good way to get into the story. And remember, questioning is another way to get into a story, to figure out what's coming. And kind of tied in with questioning and trying to figure out what's going to happen next is something called making an inference. You may have heard this word before, but an inference is like a prediction that you make, or even a conclusion that you make. So let's think about a scenario. If there was a juggler in the story, and in the story the juggler's really good at doing what he's doing, then you could make an inference, which is a conclusion that the juggler is an excellent juggler. That could be your inference. Now, when you have an opinion about something, like I think that blue is the best color, you know how it is with your friends. They're like, why? Oh yeah? Prove it. Because I think that green is the better color. So if you don't have any evidence to support your opinion, then I'm probably not going to change my opinion. Well, when you're reading and you're writing about what you read, or you're sharing about what you read and you make an inference, then what we like to do is we have the inference, but then to prove the inference, we pull evidence from the text. This is going to be very, very useful to you when you take tests, and also when you do writing assignments where you're looking at a text and you have to explain your inferences or your conclusions about a text. So let's look at an example. During a school talent show, a shy girl named Emily surprised everyone with her incredible singing voice, belting out a heartfelt song that brought tears to the audience's eyes. So we can make the inference that Emily has a good voice. But now we need evidence. And one really great way to get evidence is to go right to the text. So let's look for a piece that works for evidence. We could use this piece. Now notice I have 3 dots. That's because it's not the full sentence from the text. So I do 3 dots inside the quotation marks. And Emily surprised everyone with her incredible singing voice. ... and then quotes. That's just a way to show that it's an exact quote from the text, but I didn't pull the whole sentence. But now with my inference, I have evidence that proves that my inference is correct, or at least very reasonable. Let's look at a few more examples. In a distant galaxy, an astronaut named Alex encountered an alien creature with shimmering rainbow-colored scales during an exploration mission. Okay, so let's come up with an inference, a conclusion about that text. We could say that the alien that Alex encountered does not look like a human. That seems pretty obvious, but now we have to come up with evidence from the text. So let's pull a piece from the text and prove it. So we could say, alien creature with shimmering rainbow-colored scales. That little quote from the text really proves that this alien doesn't look like a human because we don't have those. So see how this works? Let's just do one more. In a faraway jungle, a young explorer named Diego discovered a hidden temple filled with ancient treasures, including a mysterious golden mask. So this is going to be a funny example. I could make an inference that's more, plain and ordinary, but I want to have a little bit of fun. So I'm going to say, Diego will be rich. But now I have to pull evidence to prove that. So let's pull a piece right from the text. So we could pull the evidence, Diego discovered a hidden temple filled with ancient treasures. And that works for evidence because it's proving my inference. So now it's time for our next story. But first, we need to find out where our story will be. North America. So let's take a look at what this story will be. It looks like it's going to be Native American. This is the story of the Pleiades and the pine. This is a Cherokee myth, so I was right. The Cherokees are a Native American tribe that are from North America. This is retold by Carolyn Michaels, but before I go into the story, I want to make sure that you know what the Pleiades are. Pleiades are a constellation, so let's see what the story is about. In the distant past, when our world was new, there were 7 boys who loved playing a game called Jigatsu. In this game, they rolled a stone wheel on the ground and used a curved stick to strike it. Despite their mother's scolding, the boys couldn't resist the game. So one day, their mothers decided to teach them a lesson. They gathered some Jigatsu stones and cooked them in the pot along with the corn they were preparing for dinner. When the hungry boys returned home, their mothers scooped out the stones from the pot and said, "Since you seem to prefer Jigatsu over the cornfield, enjoy these stones for your supper." The boys were furious. They went down to their meeting place and discussed their mother's actions. Feeling hurt and rejected, they decided to leave their homes forever. They began to dance. Some say it was the feather dance, in circles around their meeting place. As they danced, something extraordinary happened. And I'm going to make you read the rest of the story yourself. I want to know what happens. Why is this story called The Pleiades and the Pine?
Wonderbox, Wonderbox, you're so full of surprises. Wonderbox, Wonderbox, full of fun and play. So let us in, let the fun begin. In your magic Wonderbox way. One alligator, two alligators, three alligators, four alligators, three alligators, two alligators, one alligator, no more alligators.
An elephant.
What is it? What's behind the door? It's a tree. Look, a bigger tree. And this is the biggest tree. A tree, a bigger tree, and the biggest tree. Goodbye, trees.
A snail. A snail.
rainbow horse. Scuba dots.
All plants and animals are made of eukaryotic cells, and these cells have specialized structures inside called organelles. Organelles are going to help a cell do specific functions so that way it can live, grow, and help the overall big organism live and survive. One unique organelle that is found in plants is called the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are organelles that give the plant its green coloring and also does a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process where plants take carbon dioxide and water and turn it into glucose, which is sugar that they can use for energy, and also oxygen, which is important because that's what we breathe. It's because of plants and other organisms that have chloroplasts that we have oxygen in the air right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at this process of photosynthesis. Starting at the table, you can see that each different atom is going to be represented by a different color. For example, we have the carbon atom that is going to be represented by this black ball. We have the oxygen atom represented by this red ball. And we have a hydrogen atom which is going to be represented by this white ball. Now, when you look at a chemical equation, you have two parts. The first part is the reactants. These are like your ingredients that go into the chemical reaction. And you have the products. This is what is made and comes out of the chemical reaction. In photosynthesis, we are going to start with 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. We know that there are 6 because of this number at the front called a coefficient. So let's go ahead and put the models down, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, we are going to have 6 molecules of H2O. You probably know what H2O is, but that is just the scientific name for water. So I'm going to put the 6 molecules of water here under the reactants. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the process of photosynthesis, you have air, which has carbon dioxide. You have water, but there is a third thing you need, and that is going to be energy from the sun. All plants use solar energy to fuel the reaction of photosynthesis. So in this plant, once it is exposed to the sun, it is going to take the 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and the 6 molecules of water, and it is going to change it to 1 molecule of glucose, which is a scientific name for sugar. And this isn't like the sugar that we would eat in candy. This is a scientific type of sugar. Sorry to disappoint you. And we are going to get 6 molecules of oxygen. Now, the important thing to remember is that the law of conservation of mass says that these molecules cannot be destroyed. They are just going to be rearranged as we go through the photosynthetic process. So let's go ahead and change these atoms. Whew, that was a lot of work, but finally, I have gone through and I have rearranged our reactants, and now we have the products. And you can see that we have a very complicated 3D molecule representing glucose, and then we have 6 oxygen molecules. And something most people don't know is that the oxygen we breathe is actually 2 oxygen atoms combined together. So this shows you the complex process of photosynthesis. And this process is so important for plants and also for us because we are breathing the oxygen that is created. So next time you see a plant, you should probably thank it for going through this long and complicated process of photosynthesis. Until next time.
1, 2,